Affirmations, journaling, visualizing, inner child healing, law of attraction, manifestation. You may have been doing this work for years and years. And why is it that it used to feel exciting in the past, but now you're feeling quite exhausted from it? You're feeling quite spiritually burned out, maybe even physically. You may feel tired. You may feel kind of discontent with this moment. You may feel kind of flat whenever you hear these words like just be high vibe. You just attract what you are. When you hear these words, why is it that you may even feel a little bit like meh or irritable? Or you may feel like you should be doing more. And why is it the fact that we start to feel tired as you proceed along this spiritual and self-development and healing work? And this is something that I have felt for quite some times, maybe in the past few years. I noticed myself feeling quite empty, quite overwhelmed inside. Like I would do all these spiritual manifestations, I would manifest things, and in certain downtimes, I would just feel like a flat feeling, like I am inside a void of some sort. And I just couldn't back then, I couldn't explain what that feeling was. I just couldn't understand why am I feeling that way. But I realized that all this self-development and healing work can be making you feel exhausted more than it brings you peace, making you feel discontent and overwhelmed more than it brings you satisfaction and contentment. And this is especially true if you have been doing this work for years and years and have followed all the courses or gurus online, spiritual teachings, or self development, healing work, and all that. And now that I got to go through this path, now I'm quite seeing that I'm seeing that all of this is happening, and this is not just you or me alone. A lot of women in this spiritual space and circles who have been into personal development can feel this sense of exhaustion. And it's not just a feeling of like physically feeling like you don't want to do anything. It's not just that, but also mentally and spiritually, things just aren't that exciting as they used to be anymore. And I'm seeing that one of the reasons why this happens is because most of the time, whenever we are in healing work and getting into law of attraction, or trying to figure out the formulas on how to attract this and that thing, how to manifest this and that thing, most of the time what can happen is that we can get lost inside our heads. We start to spin inside circles. We start to look up other people, listen to these external voices outside of ourselves. We look at, follow this person online and see like they're like, oh, I attracted this person or this relationship, this thing because of this, and you start to follow it, and then you see another person doing another thing, and then you're like torn between so many different places to listen to. And so the first reason is because we are torn up by seeking things outside of us. We are caught up trying to figure out the correct way, the perfect way to getting things, getting what you want, manifesting the thing. And so what happens is that we get up lost inside our head. We start to figure things out in our heads, and that is where we become disconnected to our bodies that reside in this present now moment. And the same thing that can happen in healing spaces, we start to figure out, like, oh my God, this person in the past, my dad did this to me, my mom did this to me, I suffered this back in my childhood. Of course, I feel that way because that's what so and so happened to me, right? And we get caught up in these stories of our childhood wounds and trauma, and we start reliving these all over and over again. And at times, it can feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're just like rinsing and repeating all those things, that revisiting all this 1,000 times, and it's getting nowhere. And maybe you might have some breakthroughs once in a while, but even then, you are finding yourself that comes from figuring out in your head. So you're basically trying to heal through figuring out and analyzing the problems, figuring out how to resolve it, right? That is where we become disconnected with the head and the body. And that is why we feel tired, my love. We feel tired because we are so trapped inside our heads. And our bodies, basically, we feel exhausted because our bodies are essentially bringing us down in a way. It's bringing down back into the earth. Because when we are tired, then we can tune into where it is that we feel tired. We can tune and listen more to our bodies instead of the mind saying, oh, this should happen this way, I need to do it this way, right? So tiredness is, in a way, your body telling you where the disconnection is, where the gap between the mind and the body is, and she is basically bringing you down back into the earth, back into your body, back into your senses, and allowing you to invite you to breathe and be in the space that it is okay to be here. And the other reason is because we feel tired because physically we may not be doing that much. Like, you may not even have a physically laborious job, right? You may be doing the same things that you've always done. But why is it that you feel more tired right now than before? And the reason is because even though we are not physically trying to get to places, yes, you can be, but also you don't have to be in order to feel tired like this. Instead, energetically and spiritually, you may be trying to leap so much. So in this manifestation world, there is this word that is so prominent or so popular called like quantum leap, right? And it's all about achieving results in such a short time span that other people might normally take years or months, right? And whenever it's great to learn these things and seeing how that is possible and opening yourself to such possibilities. However, what happens is that we can become attached to these ideas and notions that things have to happen fast all the time. Whether that is results in your business, your career, or your relationship, like, we get addicted to getting things fast, fast, fast. And what happens is that, again, there becomes a gap, right? We feel a dissonance between where we want to be and where we are. And that is what is causing the tiredness, because in the spiritual realm and energetic realm, we are trying to leap so fast, get things so fast. And of course, what happens if imagine you're running all the time. What happens if you're running all the time? You will feel tired, exhausted, right? Fatigue. That's the same way. When we are trying to run in the rocket launch in the spiritual and energetic space, of course we will feel that tiredness and exhaustion. So that is the second reason why you may be feeling tired, you're feeling exhausted. And the last and final piece, something similar to that, is that the reason why you're feeling tired and exhausted in your spiritual journey is because of the judgment And that judgment is like very, very subtle, my love. That it may not even be a loud inner critic, but it's still a judgment. Because what's happening in that is that in the spiritual spaces, we only honor the great things. We only honor the positivity. So we say things like you have to be positive all the time, or you have to be high vibrational all the time, right? So what happens is that, imagine you're a circle and you are only honoring one side of the circle, right? The circle is a full circle. So instead of honoring the fullness, the wholeness of who you are, we're only saying that, oh, I love myself, or things are only good when I am positive, only when I have positive results, only when I am in a positive vibration or frequency, right? So what happens is that we become again attached to the positive side of things, and you trying to use affirmations and journaling and meditation, all those things, to only get to the like only visualize, only look at the positive side of things. And basically it's like the whole negative part of ourselves are being shoved away, they're shunned away, and they're like piling up in the attic, and that is what is bothering us, that is what is like energetically draining us down. And it feels exhausting because we are running away from the ordinary, the mundane, the not so good, and even the messy, the negative, the human emotions, right? So in order to let go of this tiredness, the key is in reconnecting back to the things that you have been avoiding, the things that you have been saying as like negative or not so good, right? You want to reconnect. It's just like how we, instead of trying to ascend so high up into the sky, we want to come back down into the roots, into the earth. And that is where, my love, that is where the ease is. There, that is where the actual peace is. The peace is when you realize that you don't have to be shooting upward into the sky and doing all this healing work in order to feel good. You can feel good just as you are. You can feel good. You are already whole. And there is nothing that you need to fix. There is nothing that you need to reach to. There is nothing that you need to get to. And I know that this can sound like a threat to that spiritual ego who has been trying to improve yourself and manifest things for so long. But my love, this will be such a relief for you that you didn't even know that you have been carrying this baggage your whole life, your whole time during doing the spiritual work. When actually, to truly be spiritual is to see your full soul, accept and honor all that you are. And in that honoring, in that witnessing, my love, that is where you can lay back, you can relax, you can drop that weight off your shoulders. And it's just like lying down on the bare, on the grass, barefoot on the ground, just soaking it all in. And that is where you will naturally be rejuvenated. You will naturally be restored. It's like the earth is naturally restoring you. You don't have to do anything in order to be restored, because that's what naturally happens when you let yourself fully be and you don't make this tiredness wrong. And instead, accept that the tiredness is just a voice of your soul speaking to you.